Hi guys, today I have Liza with me. We're both big fans of Pilates, but we really wanted to take our own little spin on it and reinvent things for you. So you're gonna see some inspiration in traditional moves, but doing it the Wunda Bar way. So let's go ahead and get started. If you have a ring, we're gonna take it into our hands as we lay down onto our backs. Liza's gonna show the ring in between her ankles. I'm gonna show the ring outside of the ankles, and it's just gonna shift the focus on where you feel it in the abdomen, whether it's in the low belly for Liza and the inner thighs, or the outer thighs and the waistline for me. So straight away, we're gonna float the legs into a tabletop position, and we're gonna take the hands underneath the base of the skull, going into a shallow abdominal curl with lots of length on the front of the body. We're gonna mimic what we do on a jump board here. So we're gonna inhale as we lengthen the legs long. Exhale as we draw the legs back in. Inhale, legs reach long, hamstrings and abdominals, deliver the legs forward. Exhale as we bring it in. I'm gonna ask Liza, as she's inhaling on that length, to start adding what we call a bus driver. So she's gonna rotate the femur bones a little bit as the legs extend and then bring it back through center. What's important is we want to keep the pelvis quiet. So notice that her hips aren't rocking side to side as she does that extension. And that's going to really up the challenge and connect the inner thighs to the low belly, pelvic floor, and the opposite waistline. Yes?
Yes.
Amazing. She's got it. Let's do two more just like this. And we're going to go into a side bend using that ring. Beautiful job. Really feeling those femur bones rotate as we extend to the other side. Center the legs back through the middle and allow the ring to lower down. All right, we're gonna come onto our knees now with that ring, and the ring is going to be a support for us, but not a weight support, more of a balance support. Now we're gonna take the left leg long out to this side and arc the left arm over as we hold on to that ring, but not smashing it down towards the ground. So we have a little side bend going on through the spine, and from here, we are going to do a lateral raise with the left leg. So it's just a little crease at the outer side of the hip and float the leg back down. So we're holding that side bend the whole time as we lower and raise the left leg. I like to think about that thigh bone, the femur bone sinking into the pelvis, and that is what's happening for that lift. You can see that the ring is really wobbling below us, and that's the point. The idea is to have an unstable base underneath you, so the core has to work overtime as we move the leg down and up. Let's do three more like this. We're gonna go into a little upper body jump set. Last two. Floating the left leg up, back down. And now we're gonna go into our upper body jumps using that ring. So take the ring flat in your hands and sinking back onto your heels. Arms are long in front of you, elbows are down, and you can even bring the crown of your head down onto the floor if you can reach that low. We're gonna exhale to prepare. And then we're gonna inhale as we float up into a high kneeling position with the ring overhead. Exhale, creasing at the hips as you lower down. Inhale as you lengthen and lift to rise. So straight away, you might notice that this effort gets loaded into the quads. And what we want to focus on as we work is thinking about everything working together. So as you rise, you can think about the ribs lifting up off of the pelvis and the pelvis lifting up off of the legs. As we lower, the sitting bones are broadening, and we're allowing those shoulder blades to melt down into the middle back to increase functionality and health of the shoulders, as well as increase the cardio effort while we're working. We're gonna do four more here. We're exhaling on the way down, really reaching for length, creasing deeply at the pelvis on the front side, inhaling to lift with breath, exhaling to lower down and lengthen. Good, this is two more. We're gonna go into that side bend on the other side. This is your last one, Liza. Beautiful job, reaching long with the spine the whole time. And rise all the way up. Good. We're gonna have the ring under the left hand now. Left knee is down, and right leg extends out to the side of the mat. Right arm arcs up and over, bending through the side and holding that bend. And now we're gonna inhale and float the right leg up off the mat. The ring is gonna wanna really smash down and float the right leg down. So you can work at your own pace. It's not relevant how high that right leg reaches. The idea is to hold stability through the core and the pelvis while we're working. Lengthening and lowering. Inhaling to reach. We're gonna go for four more here. This is the last two, and we're going into a Pilates push-up, but just one of them. and bring that right leg all the way down. You can set the ring to the side if you have one. And we're gonna step to the top of our mat with our feet 4 inches apart and parallel. Hands come up and overhead. We're gonna nod the chin and round the spine as we lower down into our best flexion. 1 hand, 2, 3, and 4. Now you're at the top of a plank. We're gonna do just 1 push-up today. Exhale as you lower down. Inhale, bring it back up. Hold the top of that plank. We're gonna go into a Wunda-based in flexion. So the left leg is gonna float up and back. We're now doing basically a 3-point plank. And on the exhale, we're gonna nod the chin, round the spine, and draw the left knee in. So that's an exhale. And then we're gonna inhale as we unwind into that 3-point plank. Nod the chin, round to the upper back. Exhale as you round and bring it in. Inhale as you unwind. So you're shifting your weight back as the knee is drawn in, and we're inhaling to unwind, shifting forward into a plank. Exhale, nod, round, shift the weight back as the knee draws in. Inhale as you lengthen into that plank. On the exhale, we're gonna nod the chin, round the spine, shift the weight back as the left knee draws in. Inhale, reaching for length as we unwind and extend. Last time, nod the chin, exhale, round, draw the left knee in. Inhale to unwind and bring both knees down. Transition onto your right hip into a mermaid position. So we're seated with our right leg bent forward and left leg bent back. We're gonna bring the right forearm all the way down onto the mat and the left arm reaches up and out at a diagonal. From here, on the inhale, we're going to float the elbow up off the mat as we rise into a seated position. So the idea here is we're using the waistline and the core to pick us up, inhaling to lift rather than shoving off of the ground. We don't want to find that position where we're pushing. We want to find the idea where we can find that core challenge to lift and lengthen rather than just shoving off of the ground like might be the temptation to do so. So we're inhaling for length to rise, exhaling as we lower down. Let's go into 3 more of these, see if we can pick up the pace a little bit for the last 2. Inhale to rise. This is your last one. We're going to do a forearm plank next. And bring that right forearm right back down. Right forearm goes onto the mat. We're gonna keep the right knee bent below us and float up into your best side plank position. Head is in line with the spine and left leg is long. We're gonna hover the left leg by reaching on an inhale for breath. And now we're gonna do leg arcs, but on the way forward, we're gonna swivel the femur bone so that it comes into external rotation. That means the toes are gonna rotate upbound because the thigh bone did. And then we're gonna lift, and on the way back, we're gonna allow the toes to tip down because we went into internal rotation. Floating up and over, we're going forward into external rotation. Inhale as we come up and over and rotate into internal rotation. You'll notice here that Liza's holding her pelvis very steady, and that's important to find the lubrication of that hip joint and really find improved functionality. And it also looks amazing when we find strength through the glute med, inner thigh, glutes, and hamstrings. We're working crazy through the core to stabilize everything. We're gonna do 1 more all the way back, bringing it through center and all the way down. Staying in this position on the mat, we're gonna rotate so that our hands come forward and we're going into a Wunda twist. So 2 hands at the top of the mat, right foot comes in front of the left, and we're gonna be in a twisted plank position. We're gonna do 4 times a full range of movement for a Wunda twist with a flat back. So we're gonna inhale, swivel the pelvis up and back, your weight shifts back, that's an inhale. Think about sticking your booty out a little bit. Exhale, we're gonna unwind back into that start position. Inhale, rotate the pelvis, magnetize the outer thighs as we rotate back. Exhale as we unwind. We have 2 more here. Inhale, really using the pelvis as the keystone for your movement. Exhale to unwind. Inhale as we come up and back. Collarbones are widening with every breath. Find that twisted plank again like we started. We're gonna magnetize the outer thighs as best we can. Exhale, shifting back, knees bend, your booty does not raise. Inhale as we bring it forward. We're gonna exhale, narrowing around the waistline as we bring it back, magnetizing the outer thighs. Inhale as we bring it forward. Let's do 2 more here. Inhaling for length. This is going to be the last one. Inhale and bring both knees all the way down. So we're going to sit with our legs in front of us, long in front of our body on the mat. If you need a little bend to the knees, that's fine too. The arms come long in front of the body, sitting as tall as you can on your sitting bones. Lengthen through the crown of the head with a flat back to lean just about 3 to 4 inches back. You want to feel the deep abdominals catching under the rib basket. And then the first thing that happens is the tailbone melts down under. Then we're going to start rolling through the low back, then through the middle back, and last we're going to touch down the upper back and the back side of the head. On an inhale, think about lengthening and reaching, almost like you're a hammock, reaching for the other wall, slowly rising up, transitioning into an exhale, articulating through the spine as we rise all the way up. Again, staying nice and tall, lengthening back with a flat back, rotating through the pelvis. The tailbone draws under first, low back, middle back, upper back, and the head lowers down. You can see that this is a really sincere challenge with these long levers. Liza's going to inhale, she rises, and it's really hard to get yourself all the way up and off the floor. Get a partner if you need to, no big deal. We're exhaling as we bring it all the way up. You can also always use a sofa or someone nearby, and they can help by holding the legs down, and that's going to assist you as you do the movement. So just work at your level, your effort today, and don't worry about doing the most intense variation of any particular exercise. Does that feel a little bit better?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's super strong, amazing. We're gonna hold this next one just about halfway down. So we're holding it halfway down to really challenge the body in an intense portion of the move. Only twice on either arm. We're gonna do an arm raise back, so the right arm comes back. She'll notice the diagonal sling fire on. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, the left arm floats up, slides down into the middle back. Bring it back to start. Last time on the right side. Inhaling, you're doing amazing. Keep it up. This is the last time on the left side. We're going right into a bridge next. You get to lay down. Hallelujah. And slowly with control, bring it back to the floor. Amazing job. All right, from here, guys, we're going to take that ring into our hands, and then we're going to bring our feet into a 4 inches apart parallel orientation. We're going to imprint into the ring. Find that connection via the middle back rather than trying to squish it with your hands. And now, because we just did that roll down to articulate the spine, let's pick up the pelvis like a hinge and lengthen all the way up into the top of your bridge. Exhaling, keeping that flat back and long spine, we're going to crease at the front of the hips and send the pelvis back down. Still imprinting intently into the ring, melting all 4 sides of your feet. All 4 corners of your feet are melting into the ground. That's going to help recruit the glutes and the hamstrings rather than just making it a crampy hamstring situation. Can you feel that connection, Liza? So we've got that lift. We're going to inhale, reaching for length on the front side of the legs. You'll notice that she's trading the crease from the front side of the hips on the way down. There's a crease on the front side of the pants. And then on the way, all the way at the top, there's a crease on the back side of the pants. So you can kind of think about visually trading that crease in your own body, and that's going to help you recruit the glutes and the core instead of just giving all that effort away to the hamstrings. Let's do one more here. Let's do a hold challenge at the top, because that sounds like a great idea since I'm not doing it. We're going to reach the knees long. We're finding heavy weight, all 4 corners of the feet. Try not to grip with the toes or dump into the outer feet. Holding for 3, holding for 2, and we're going to go into arm arcs after we set the pelvis all the way down. Gorgeous job. Keeping that ring, but we're going to slide it above our knees. So now we're going to take the ring, slide it above the knees. We're laying on our back. Our arms float up to the sky. Keeping the knees bent, we're going to recruit the abdominals to ask the inner thighs to pick the legs up off the floor. We have space under the low back to help us find a neutral pelvis. And on the first inhale, we're going to peel the back side of the head up, kind of like we did in that roll down. And then we're going to float the arms to the sides of our body parallel with the floor. Keeping the inner thighs connected to the outer side of the ring. Think about the inner thighs spinning out without changing the orientation of your feet. We're going to keep that connection. Exhale as we lower that ring down. Knees stay bent. Tap to the floor. Inhale, float the ring back up to start, finding that inner thigh connection, going outbound into the ring. Exhale as we lower. Inhale as we bring it back to start. That's aggressive on your neck. You can always set your head down. as we work, noticing that we're not adding wrinkles to the front side of the shirt or the body as we are doing this movement. Let's hold the next one about halfway down, so the legs are at a bit of an angle, and then we're gonna offer extensions just 4 times. Inhale to extend the legs, exhale to bring it back out. Those are no joke. Inhale as we lengthen, exhale, bring it back in. We have 2 more of those, we got it. Inhale, exhale, bring it in, and lengthen the body the whole time. Inhale, hold it out, 5, 4, 3, 2, with control, knees bend. With control, head goes down. With control, set the feet back down onto the mat. Nice, you guys. All right, let's keep that ring, and we're gonna go into a teaser. So we're gonna reinforce the idea of the inner thighs, outer thighs, and abdominals working together. So we're gonna have that ring exactly where it was. Knees are bent a lot. We're gonna sit super tall on our sitting bones, lean with a flat back just like we did before. I like a shallow curl here, so let's just roll the tailbone under us and start to articulate through the low back. Once we're here, we're going to think about the inner thighs talking to the deep abdominals to float the legs up into a teaser position. We're just gonna do a hold challenge here. 8, 7, try to find that inner thigh connection to the deep abdominals. 6, 5, 4, 3, we're going into Wunda twist next, 2, and bring the feet all the way down. Slide that ring off. We're gonna flip it over and go into that Wunda twist on the left side. Hands are at the top of the mat. Left foot is in front of the right, and we're in a twisted plank position 4 times. On the inhale, we're gonna swivel the pelvis up and back. Exhale as we unwind. So we wanna find that long extension in the spine. We don't want to overarch or round. We really wanna find that neutral orientation going for length and breath. Inhale to rotate. Exhale to unwind. We're gonna do 1 more of those and go into the knee bends. Come into your twisted plank position. Exhale, magnetizing the outer thighs as we shift the weight back, going into that knee bend. Inhale as you extend. Exhaling as we bend 4 times only. Let's do 2 more. We're gonna go into that forearm plank next. This is our last knee bend. Extend all the way into the twisted plank and allow the knees to come down. Left forearm comes onto the mat, and we're gonna keep the left knee bent underneath us. Float the hips up into your best side plank. The right leg is long, and we're gonna float the right arm up towards the sky this time. That's gonna increase our cardio challenge. Now the right leg is going to float up off the floor with length, and we're going into that rotation. As we come forward, we're going into an external rotation with the femur bone, up and over on an inhale, internal rotation on the way back. Pelvis is not invited to move. Keeping the pelvis still and really visualizing that femur head turning through there. I like to think about guacamole. Yeah, a little guacamole masher happening in there as we rotate through. Some of my team members like to call it an ice cream scoop, so pick your poison and go with that. Rotating through. Let's do 2 more. So we're inhaling as we lift, rotate into external behind us. This is going to be the last one forward. And swiveling back. And allow the leg to come back through center, and the hip goes back down to the mat. Let's go into those mermaid bends on the other side. So we have the left knee bent, right knee is folded behind us. We're gonna go into our mermaid side bends. We're seated on the left hip, the right leg is folded behind us, and we're gonna lower the left forearm onto the mat. Right arm floats up towards the sky at a diagonal. On the inhale, we're gonna use the core, the deep abdominals, to lift rather than the arm shoving up from the ground. That's an inhale to lift. Exhale as we draw it back down. Inhale as we lengthen. Exhale as we lower it back down. Really aiming not to shorten the waistline as we rise. This area is really going to want to shorten as we lower and rise. We want to find lots of length and lift and lightness the whole time. Let's do 2 more like this. We're going to go into that Wunda on the other side. And bring it all the way down. Let's get into that Wunda on the left side. So come with your hands at the top of your mat, about shoulder width distance, and lengthen your body back into your best plank. We're stretching next, so make this one count. Feet are 4 inches apart parallel. We're going to take the right leg and reach it so long that the foot floats up and off of the floor. The head nods, the upper back rounds like you have a hammock underneath your spine, and then we're going to shift the weight back as we continue to curl and go into that Wunda position. Inhale, really find that length, that beautiful stretch as you return to that start position. Nod the chin, round, lifting. I like to think of a hammock. You can think about maybe a burlap sack or some saran wrap, whatever you like, but find that lift deep inside the body as you rise. Exhaling as we round, narrowing around the spine. Inhale, lots of length. Think about breath going in between the shoulder blades to keep your middle back connected to that efforting. Beautiful job, Liza. We're gonna go for 2 more here. We're gonna inhale as we unwind. Exhale, even as we curl, can we keep lots of length on the front body? That is a tough thing to do, but we always wanna aim for length, even when we're curling. This is the last one. Exhaling as we round, draw it in, really make it count. Inhale as we unwind, and both knees can come down onto the mat. Beautiful job. Let's go into a hip opener stretch. So we're gonna have our left leg forward. We just really worked that one for that Wunda. So the left leg is gonna come forward and the right leg reaches back. We're gonna go into our hip opener stretch now, and this looks a lot like a pigeon stretch, but I'd like you to focus less on the shape you're making with the external shape of the body and more about the internal sensation. I want you to aim for a release on the front side of the right hip rather than a stretch. Can you feel that, Liza? Instead of a pull or a tug, it's more of just a release, really allowing your body and giving it permission to sink deeply into that hip opening position, and you'll feel increased stretch through the left hip as well. From here, we're just going to hold this position and take the right arm up and over, going into a side bend, stretching through the side body. Nice inhale here. Bring the right hand back down to start. We're gonna bring the right knee in, going into a child's pose, just aiming for length through the spine and the back. Arms come long forward, knees are bent and wide. Take one deep inhale here. Exhale as you release. Inhale, come on up. Let's do that hip opening stretch on the other side. So we're going to have the right hip bent forward, and we're going to have the left leg reaching long behind us. So again, the idea is about that release and that permission for your body to sink into that right hip rather than any kind of a forcing or pushing it into that position. If it feels good to your body, you can ask your left arm to arc up and over, stretching through the side body. Float the hand back down to the mat. Walk both knees forward. Beautiful job, you guys. Thank you, Liza, for being here. Amazing work. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.